I'm going to let Senator Hawley take my time.
Senator Hawley, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Senator Scott. That's kind of you. Admiral, I want to come back to something you said earlier. You talked about China being the pacing threat, Indo-PACOM being the pacing theater, and that, with that in mind, let me just point out that the threat of a Chinese invasion of Taiwan continues to grow rapidly, but the resources that are available to the Department to counter and deter that threat are not. Given that, is it fair to say that DoD needs to be doing less in lower priority theaters so it can use its scarce resources to do more, to do what we need to do to deter China in the Indo-Pacific?
Yeah, that gets to that resource balance question that we were talking about, sir. And so certainly, if the pacing threat is in the Indo-PACOM theater, then working with the combatant commander, Admiral Aquilino, my close colleague, it will be important to provide him the resources he needs to help shape that environment and make those priority-based discussions based on the threat.
Are you concerned that the Global Posture Review released last week doesn't name a single region where DoD plans to do less?
Not part of the process to build the Global Posture Review. What I do like about the Global Posture Review is that it provides a disciplined framework to have those priority-based discussions that you talked about. And so I think that's a great promise of the GPR going forward.
So you're not concerned is the answer to my question?
I think there's room for us to work within the discipline process that they lay out to have further discussions about those priorities, challenges that you referenced.
Well, I just want to say that I'm very concerned by the Global Posture Review. The overwhelming message, I think, sent by the review is that our posture abroad doesn't require any changes at all. The review doesn't recommend any major changes. I think that's a big mistake. We cannot continue to do what we're doing and adequately deter China in Asia. Let me ask you about our force planning construct in the 2018 NDS. It shifted that construct, the NDS shifted focus from maintaining our ability to fight and win 2 regional wars to fighting and winning a single war against a great power. Senator Rounds was asking about this earlier. Do you agree with the force planning construct used in the 2018 NDS?
I think as we work on the NDS and if confirmed, I look forward to being part of the next NDS. I think we're going to have to look really hard at that force planning construct. It's conditions-based, it's threat-based, and the situation, as I say, the world gets a vote, and we're going to have to look at what that means with 2 peer competitors and how we're going to adjust that.
Well, let me ask you to you this way. The Assistant Secretary of Defense, Mara Carlin, wrote to me earlier this year, I'm quoting her now, "I believe that the force planning construct should prioritize and focus on China unless and until the security environment changes dramatically." She goes on, "The threat China poses to Taiwan should be a priority for the force planning construct." Do you agree with Dr. Carlin?
Haven't had a chance to sit down with Dr. Carlin to talk about that, but I do agree that the pacing threat and the challenges that we most face is in the Indo-PACOM region.
With regard to the force planning construct, Dr. Carlin also wrote, and I'm quoting her again, "While the U.S. military will invariably need to juggle other challenges simultaneously, it would need to reprioritize those should a conflict with China arise." Do you agree with that the U.S. military will need to reprioritize other challenges, for instance, in Europe, should a conflict with China arise so that we can focus on
Absolutely. If conflict arises, we're going to have to provide all that we can to win that conflict.
And you think that China should be the priority even in the event of simultaneous conflicts?
Again, conditions-based.
Well, I don't know what that means, with all due respect, Admiral. You've said that several times now, and frankly, you're evading my questions. You haven't given me a straight answer on any of my questions yet. I've asked you about the Global Posture Review repeatedly. I've asked you about the 2018 NDS. So far, you haven't answered me on any of them. So let's try for a yes or a no. Let me just back up and let's try again. The 2018 NDS, the force planning construct used in that, shifting away from multiple conflicts to winning one great power conflict. Do you agree with that, yes or no?
I agree that it needs to be reviewed.
So that sounds like you don't agree with it currently, and you think that it's subject to revision. Is that right?
So what I offer, Senator, is that going forward, if confirmed as the Vice Chairman, I'll have an ability to help contribute to that dialogue as we look at the force planning construct going forward.
Well, I'd say this. If I can't get any further clarity from you on this, and if your position is in fact that you want to abandon the 2018 NDS force posture, you won't be confirmed with my vote. Let me ask you about the situation in Taiwan. Taiwan needs to be able to field cost-effective and resilient asymmetrical defense capabilities as quickly as possible in order to strengthen their deterrence against a Chinese invasion. Do you agree with that?
I agree that asymmetric tools that they can bring to that fight would be of great value.
My time has expired. I'm going to have a number of more questions for you, Admiral, for the record, and frankly, I'm disappointed in your answers today. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.